This game is called Treasure Chest for kindergarten to grade 4. You'll need cones, hula hoops, and a bunch of random toys or objects. And to start, on one end of the gym, you're going to have a treasure chest. And I use one of those big plastic storage bins, and you're going to fill it with a whole bunch of different treasures, whether that's little toys from the dollar store or different pieces of equipment you have, balls or birdies or whatever it is. And you're going to dump them all out, all those treasures on the floor on that one side. And on the other side, you're going to have 5 cones or however many cones for relay teams. And I like number 5, and about 3 players per team. And at the end of each team, you're going to have a hula hoop, and that's going to be their collection area. So they're going to collect the treasures and put them into their own hula hoops in your typical relay style. So when you say go, the first person from each line will run, they'll grab a treasure, bring it back, place it in the hoop, and the next person goes after the high five, or however you like to do your relays. Some of the rules for this game is before the game starts, you'll choose 3 secret treasures, and only you'll know those things. You can write them down on a piece of paper, and at the end of the rounds, the teams who will end up with those 3 secret treasures will win that round, and the losing teams will have to perform an exercise. So you just tell them, oh, okay, guys, I've chosen 3 special treasures. You guys are going to try and find those ones, guess which ones they are. Or you can have it where the team who collects the most treasure wins, especially for kindergartens, grade ones. That's counting, nice counting and sorting, depending on the color items. You can have whatever ideas that way. Instead of just the running, what's nice too is you can use your basic transport skills, so they can work on skipping, so they have to skip there and back, or galloping, or go forwards one way, backwards way back, or kickbacks, or knee highs, or whatever types of exercise you want to do, or transport skills. And that's it for this idea. It's a game called Speedway for grades 1 to 8, and you're going to need 6 cones or pylons. I got to thank a friend and colleague of mine for this game idea. Alright, so in Speedway you're going to use the outside line of a basketball or volleyball court, or whatever lines you have that'll work, and you'll place the cones down as you see there. Now at each cone you'll have a separate team, so try to make even teams. Here we have teams of 3, and you're going to tell the students they're going to be racing around a racetrack, which is the kind of open area outside of the line there, and they have to stay on the track, of course, and be careful when they're racing to not bump into each other or crash or whatever you want to say. So before they start, you're going to have a direction chosen. So in this case we have a clockwise direction. You can switch that up after too if you'd like. And you're going to have the starting student of their line enter the racetrack. Now before they go, the others are going to kind of move up naturally, and when you blow the whistle, they're simply going to run around and do a lap. So here you see them, they've got to be careful at the corners, and my program couldn't make it smoothly going around, but pretend they just smoothly ran around the track. When they get to back to their team, they'll high five the next person, and then the next person will continue on, and they'll continue in that direction. Now you can do a few things with this. You can have them just continue going in laps and trading off, and then switching, going to the back of the line, kind of like a relay would be. Or you could have them pass batons, and you could do something like put a bucket of popsicle sticks in the middle, so every time they do a lap, they can grab a popsicle stick and see who has the most at the end. Or lots of different things you could do with this. You could even have them doing skipping or galloping or any other movement skills. Here are some noodle relay ideas for kindergarten to grade 8. You'll need pool noodles and cones. You're going to start by setting up a typical relay format, and the first idea is a super simple one where players are not going to use hands, so they can't use their hands, and the pool noodle is held between their knees, and they're going to proceed to go around the cone. First person will go around the cone, wobbling while they're holding that noodle between their knees, and then pass it off to the next player in line, who will continue going on, etc., etc. You can have a competition up to the first team finished, or just continue on and on, however you like. Another way to play is as that player returns, so if the first person in line had returned, instead of passing it off, the next player in line would join that player, and then the two of them would continue on and go around, so on and so forth, and make their way back. As soon as they get back, the third person would join, and you could go on to 4 or 5 players. Probably 5 players would be max, and you could try 6 or something, depends on how long the pool noodle is. There are some more ways to play. You can have the players balance that pool noodle vertically on their hand or on their palm as they're moving. And the next one is as they're returning, you can have a line or a marker on the floor to a point where they're going to pass it to the next player who's waiting at the cone, and just throw it like a spear and try and make a catch. And another way to play is to kick the noodle across the floor, around the cone and back, so just with their feet. So there's some ideas. I'm sure you can think of some more. Hey everyone, here's a viewer submitted game called Catching Relay, and you're going to need either footballs, baseballs, or frisbees depending what unit you're working on. And so it's kind of a throwing and catching relay. So you have 2 teams, and they'll be along the edge of the playing area. This can be in the gym or outside. And you're going to divide the field area up into 3 or 4, however many portions you want, and give them point values. And the point value increases the further away from the teams it gets. And you'll start with each team having a thrower who will enter kind of the playing area, and they'll also have someone who will be receiving out in the field area depending how far away they'd like to try. So obviously the closer the easier, and it requires a lot of communication and teamwork to figure out what the best strategy is for this game. And very simply, the teams will start throwing, and if they can catch the ball, like in this situation the red player caught it there, they've earned 6 points, and the blue team didn't earn any points. And what'll happen is the thrower, the person who just threw it, will move to the field and become catcher. And the person who is catching will go into the line, and then the first person in the line will become the new thrower, and it'll just continuously move around like that. Hey everyone, here's another game you can use to incorporate some literacy into your phys ed program. This one's called Scrabble, just like the board game, for grades 2 to 8, and you're going to need to do some work beforehand and create some letters on poster paper, make a bunch of extra vowels and common letters from the alphabet, and also what you'll do is you'll put points on each one of those, so there's a point value for each letter. You don't have to do that if you don't want, but it makes things even a little bit more interesting. So what we have here is our teams, and they're across from a big stack of those letters, so each one of those pages is a separate letter, and basically you're going to tell the students, if you do it like the Scrabble game, they're going to go one at a time. First person in the line will run, pick up a page, bring it back to the team. Next person gets to go and pick it up and bring it back, so on and so forth. They're going there and back, picking up pages until they can form a word. And if they form a word, you can add up the point value like you would in the Scrabble board game, and that's that. Or if you don't want to use the point value system, it's just you can have them like say, oh, this round we're going to create 5-letter words. So first team who can go and pick up enough letters that can form a 5-letter word, or you can do whatever spelling activities you want along with it. Hey everyone, this is a game called Scavengers for K to 8. You're going to need pylons and beanbags. This is a teamwork communication building game. So before class starts, you're going to set up some pylons around the gym, and under about half of them, you're going to place beanbags, so they're hidden from sight. And when the students get there, you're going to form teams and explain to them that the goal of the game is to be the team to scavenge the most beanbags. So they're going to have to go and try and find them. So on the signal, the first person in the line will go and check under a cone, and if a beanbag is there, they get to bring it back to their group. And if it's not, you can put in a rule like the group has to do 5 jumping jacks before the next person goes, or something like that. And of course, you can switch it up however you see fit. This game's called Capture the Flag Relay for kindergarten to grade 6. You'll need cones, hula hoops, flags, foam balls for kindergarten to grade 2, or footballs for grades 3 to 6, and thanks to Mike for this game idea. So in this game, you'll place down flags at one end of the playing area, or the gym, and you can use beanbags or other objects if you'd like, and you're going to have all your teams line up in a relay style behind a cone, and you'll place down some hula hoops, 3 hula hoops in front of each cone at a certain set distance of your choice, depending on the age level. And one player from each team is going to start in the first hula hoop, the closest one to their cone, and all teams are going to get a ball, so a foam ball in this case, or you could use a football. And we're going to look at just one team for this example. Of course, we imagine all the teams will be doing the same thing at the same time. And so on the go whistle, what happens is the player with the ball, the first player in line, is going to throw the ball to the player who's in the hula hoop, and they're going to attempt to catch. If the catch is made, if it's a successful catch, then that player will go and run and grab a beanbag or a flag and return it to the team's cone to add one to their cone. Now, the rotation, what happens, the player who threw the ball will then go into the first hula hoop, and then the players will move up, and the next player in line will get the ball, and the catcher will then go to the end of the line. So that's the rotation that will always occur. Now we're going to look again at what happens if a throw is made and it is not caught, so an unsuccessful catch. Then the thrower must retrieve the ball and bring it to the end of the line, and I'll give the ball to the next person in line, and then go to the end of the line. And then it continues on. So the player who's in the hula hoop has to catch the ball, has to make a catch before that player switches. Now, essentially what happens is the first hula hoop, there has to be 5 beanbags retrieved from that hula hoop, or from that position. So once 5 beanbags have been caught from that position, then they will move to the red position and catch 5 more and bring 5 more beanbags back. And then once 5 have been successful there, then 5 more at the blue level, the furthest level, and for a total of 15. So the first team who gets 15 beanbags and 5 from each level will win the game or that round, and then you can play different rounds, mix up the teams or whatever have you. Hey everyone, here's a game called Hungry Hungry Hippos, and you're going to need some cones, some tennis balls or beanbags, and some buckets. So we have a center circle here that we're going to use, and you're going to create some teams. In this case, we have 4 teams with some cones as their starting points, and you can have more teams if you'd like. And you're going to put all the tennis balls or beanbags in the middle, so you're going to need a bunch of them. And each team's going to get a bucket as their storage container. So you're probably getting the idea already here. The teams on the signal, the first person line is going to go like relay style. They're going to grab a ball and run back, place it in their bucket, go to the end of the line, and they're going to keep going until all the balls are gone and see which team has the most at the end. And that's it for the idea. I've also seen where people use some scooters, so you can have each team with one scooter, and they can scoot themselves and pick up a ball that way. You could also try using a hockey stick maybe for the older groups, and they can do some stick handling if they're doing it carefully, or maybe have a baseball glove and they can pick up the ball with the baseball glove, or I'm sure you can think of your own ideas. Right, here's a relay type game. It's called Card Suit Pickup. You're going to need decks of cards. Even one deck of cards will work. So what you'll do is you'll create 4 teams, and each team will represent the suits in a deck of cards. So we have the diamonds team, spades, clubs, and hearts. And across from those teams, you'll put decks of cards. So face down, 52 cards in each deck. We have 4 decks here. Basically, the goal of the game is to be the first team to collect all the cards of your suit before the other teams can. And it's a typical relay format. So the first person in each line will go, and they will run to their cards, and they'll flip the top card over. If it's theirs, they'll bring it back. If not, they put it at the bottom of the deck. When they get back, the next player in line goes, and so on and so forth until that team has collected all of their cards. And you can do this alternatively with one deck and just have the teacher hold a deck at the one end if you'd like. This game's called Ice Fishers for kindergarten to grade 6. You'll need pool noodles, hula hoops, lily pads, and some paper. And it's a quick little game I came up with just this winter fishing season, so hope you enjoy. So to start, you'll place down a bunch of hula hoops, and these are going to be the ice holes or the fishing holes, so you can tell the players that they're on a big lake, and there's the fishing holes. And you're going to place down some fish, and you can cut these out in paper, or you can print off pictures and laminate them is best, but you just place them down somewhere in the fishing holes. Then you're going to cover up all the fish with lily pads or those poly spots, and then you can also place down a bunch of extra inside so that there aren't fish under some. And then you'll have students get in some groups, and each group is going to get a pool noodle, and that's going to be their fishing rod. So then when they're all ready to go, basically you're going to have a game. It's sort of a relay style where the game duration lasts for a certain number of minutes, so maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or until a group gets a certain number of fish, and they're going to try and collect the fish. And so basically we're just going to look at one group here, and you can imagine all the groups going at the same time as you would in a normal relay style kind of thing. And so we see when the whistle goes, the first person goes and they find a fishing hole and look under one lily pad. They're only allowed to check under one, and we see the student has gone and found a fish. So then they get to take that fish and bring it back to their group. And then of course they'd flip the lily pad back over before they go back to the group, and then they put that in a collection chamber and then pass the fishing rod to the next person who would then go. And so it just goes on and on like that. Of course, if they don't find a fish, then they have to go back without a fish, and it just goes on and on like that. So that's the basic idea for this game. Now there's a lot of cool things you can do with this. For example, we have the fish. That was the one thing we put under, but underneath the other lily pads you can do something. For example, even instead of just fish, you could write different weights for the fish. So you could have a 5-pound fish, 10-pound, 3-pound, 2-pound, so that the students would collect fish, but then at the end they have to add up how many pounds of fish they got. So that's a pretty neat idea you could try. Another one is you could put letters underneath different polyspots or lily pads. So instead of just fish, if they don't get a fish, maybe under a different one there are letters, then they can also collect letters at the same time. And while they're collecting letters, the ones who are in their line waiting their turn can see if they can start spelling some words. So you'd need a lot of lily pads and a lot of hula hoops and stuff like that, and a lot of letters, but it's something you could try out. Another thing you can try out is putting little math equations. So if they go to a lily pad and flip it over, and instead of a fish, there's a math equation, maybe they have to figure out that math equation, quickly do that many jumping jacks before they get to go back. So there's another idea. And finally, you could put little things on your own. For example, cut out something like this, a broken line. So if they go there and then they flip over a lily pad and then, oh, their line is broken, so then they have to hop on one foot on the way back or some sort of thing like that. And you can think of a bunch of different ideas yourself, and hope you enjoy this game idea.